watching News 12 in high definition with breaking news.
Good evening, Richard Rogers here with Meredith Anderson, continuing our coverage. Have you ever felt anything like that?
No, we were just putting together a newscast dealing with the power outages and the effects of an ice storm. And then, boom, the entire earth shook. And we were afraid, as I'm sure most of you were. The phones have been ringing off the hooks. But we have been able to confirm relatively quickly, too, that that was a 4.4 earthquake with the epicenter in Edgefield, South Carolina. So right here, guys, we had an ice storm, and now we're talking about this. Two very unusual things in just a period of a couple of days for us.
You and I both got on the phone to try to work the sources and see where this was felt. Nothing as far north as Rock Hill, but it was felt in Columbia, but not over toward the coast as far as you can tell.
Right. I made a couple of phone calls to Charleston. They did not feel it there, but we're seeing reports out of Athens. People say that they felt the earth shake there. So we're really just kind of all getting this information together because we were doing what you were doing. We were sitting down and we actually thought the tower here was about to fall. And thank goodness it didn't. And then the phone started ringing and we realized people 30 miles away felt it too.
Just an unusual rumble, an unusual sensation that you never expect to feel, especially being kids of the Southeast. But News 12 Shane Butler was checking the USGS website and he was able to put a dot on the map, and Shane's here to share that with us now. Shane?
Yeah, we'll kind of show you the epicenter of this thing tonight. This is Edgefield County, and this is Edgefield, city of Edgefield. And this thing's about west-northwest of the city there. Meredith?
I want to give some information that was comforting to me. I think this is going to be comforting to a lot of people listening right now. When we felt it, we thought this was a major earthquake. Of course, our first concern, damage. We were worried about some of the bridges. We were worried about some of the roads, that sort of thing, just because we're not used to feeling anything like this. But this is actually classified as a light earthquake. This is some of the information about what we can expect damage-wise, and this is very good information. Noticeable shaking of indoor objects and rattling noises. Okay, we all felt that, saw that, heard that. Felt by most people in the affected area. I would say by social media and by all the phone calls we're getting, pretty much everyone who was awake felt that. Generally causes no damage, and if it does, it's very minimal. That is the one thing we need to remember with this is an earthquake like this.
Come on in, Kevin. The tower is gushing water.
The tower is gushing water now.
Okay. It's on our Facebook page.
All right. This is the, if we go to Kevin's Facebook page, the station's Facebook page, we're going to be able to see pictures
Pull that up
here.
on Mito.
Wow, look at that.
There you go. All right. Well,
I wonder if it was damaged because of the ice storm, and then on top, this was just the straw that broke the camel's back.
That's got to be from shaking.
It could have been.
That's got to be shaking.
Well, there you go. This is the iconic water tower there at the corner of Berkman's and Washington Road, right at the edge of the Augusta National property. Pouring water there, and you can see cars still coming by. In the shot earlier, punch up the live shot from Washington Road, if you would. That is right at that scene. If we could pan that camera to the left, and we cannot,
can we iris that up or anything?
I don't know if you're able to open up the iris or anything on this shot to help us out. No control over that camera, but you see traffic flowing normally on Washington Road. And so apparently that water's just flowing there to the left of that bright light.
We have a crew heading there right now, and hopefully they will be able to provide some insight into that. But that picture,
look at that shot.
That speaks 1,000 words tonight, doesn't it?
It really does. And while we look at that, let me just say to you folks in Edgefield, where this thing was centered, your chief of police, Ronald Carter, says there are no initial reports of damage. That's great to hear from the Edgefield PD chief, Ronald Carter. No initial reports of damage there, but you can see this was centered just north of the town of Edgefield in Edgefield County.
And that's ground zero, so that's good.
Yeah, that
good
is good
to know that they're okay. We've been reaching out all over the area to figure out who felt what and where, and we want to send it out now to George Lopez, who's in downtown Augusta, with some more information. George?
Yeah, we're out here right now, like you were saying earlier, Meredith. Luckily, we have not had any reports of any injuries. All the structures seem to be fine. I have put a call in to D. Copenhaver, the mayor, to see if he's heard anything. Also in a call to the Sheriff Richard Roundtree. I haven't heard back from them yet, but as soon as we hear something, we'll be sure to let you know. But as of right now, we don't have anybody hurt. We don't see any structural damage down here in downtown Augusta. And kind of like you just saw that guy, people are acting like nothing happened. Now, I do want to bring in Sasha Caldwell in here real quick. Sasha, you were eating dinner. You lived in Georgia your whole life, and it was like something that you said you never felt before, right?
Yeah, it was something I never felt before.
And hopefully everybody's safe in the other parts of Augusta, Aiken, and Edgefield.
Yeah, George, I feel like we should almost apologize to any viewers who might be here from the West Coast thinking we're overreacting significantly, but it's a 4.4 Richter scale, not large on as far as the scale goes.
But this is huge for us. This is huge for our area,
Very
and
unusual.
especially days after an ice storm that pretty much put everything to a halt in our area. A lot of people still don't have power, and then they're in their bed tonight, and then they felt this. And your first thought, of course, is some people said, I thought it was a plane crash. We thought the large tower here right outside the studio was going to come down. Someone else reported they thought it was perhaps a gas line underground that was rupturing. So you think of this catastrophic thing that's happening, and then you realize that people 30, 40 miles away are also feeling the same thing. And then you realize what it is.
How widespread it is.
Right, and then you wait for the aftershocks. Now, this is some information from ready.gov, basically what to expect after an earthquake. I mean, we're all kind of going through this together here. We don't really know what to expect.
Earthquake 101 on the fly right now.
You are learning it as we are learning it. Basically, expect aftershocks, which we know Pam Tucker with Columbia County, the EMA director there, has said definitely expect them. We haven't felt any, but please let us know if you have. Now, these secondary shock waves are usually less violent than the main quake, but they can be pretty strong and significant as well. Again, we're talking about a 4.4, which is considered a light earthquake. So maybe the aftershocks would be minimal, and they say that some only sensitive people might feel it.
So we're standing by with a live interview now with Mayor Deke Copenhaver, who certainly had an interesting week. He goes from flying with the governor to experiencing an earthquake in our town. So, George, we'll let you take it away as we watch Shane go through some map cycles here. George, what do you got?
All right, so, guys, right now we have Mayor Deke Copenhaver on the phone. Mayor Copenhaver, kind of tell me, first of all, when you first felt this, where were you at, and what came through your mind? I mean, did you think it was an earthquake?
No, George, I was at home, and, yeah, you could tell that it was not, you know, a lot of people thought it might be a tree coming down or something, but it was a seismic event, and so I knew it was something different than what we experienced over the past several days.
And Mr. Mayor, let me ask you this. I mean, in the last week, I mean, you've had an ice storm, now a possible earthquake. I mean, in all your years being here, have you experienced so much of Mother Nature in a short amount of time?
Well, George, I don't think any mayor could have experienced this.
And people seem to still kind of going about their business, you know, having their Valentine's dinner, having their Valentine's beer and their wine. But just make sure that stay safe. We'll toss it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Broad Street unfazed, but I like the California perspective.
Exactly, and only George Lopez could go downtown and find someone from California who has felt these before.
Talking us through it.
And knows that it's no big deal, but at the same time, we're here to let you know that it isn't a big deal. I mean, it is in the fact that it's rare for us, but we're here to calm your fears a little bit, because we're honest, we were just as afraid as you were when we felt it. But now that we're learning more, and that's why we do this, the more you know, the better shape you're in, right, Shane?
Certainly a wow factor going on here. Social media is lighting up, but before we get to social media, Shane, what else did you want to pop in here? Let's hit some reaction from Facebook over all this shaking going on. Sandra Ott says, shook my house for a good 2 minutes. She was over in Edgefield, which was closer to the ground zero there. Katie Waters Whitley said, this could not be due to the weather we had. An ice quake? Maybe that's a new term, everybody, an ice quake.
I saw something on social media tonight about it being a full moon. And so if you're talking about a full moon, and Shane, are we in a full moon right now? Oh, we are? I wasn't sure if it was full or close, but it seemed like it was pretty close to me. So let me get this straight. We've got a full moon. We just had an ice storm, and then we had an earthquake. Do
we dare even go? Yeah. Let's just get to the weekend.
Third time's the charm. We're done.
Yeah,
we're done.
Hope we're all done with that.
Let's call that.
But yeah, officially here from the USGS, that's a 4.4. Centered just north and west of Edgefield tonight. You know, and it's still kind of speculative about the water tower associating that. So with them saying that it was already leaking today. So, you know, it may just be coincidental. We don't know.
They've got somebody there is what I wanted to point out here. If we could roll that up a little more. The water tower's coming out of an overflow valve there. The tower is safe, so there's no concern whatsoever. It's just a bizarre coincidence tonight on that water tower leak, following an unusual minor earthquake in the southeast.
That information from a disaster coordinator on the scene, so not just someone who was a witness there. That's some official word tonight about the situation.
That's a relief, and we can knock that off our list of things to worry about.
I just cannot imagine a time that is not like today. Can you imagine if you felt that in the station? Without social media, what would you have done? You know,
you pick up the phone, or she would just run out of the house.
Honestly, I knew it was an earthquake when I got a text message that someone else felt it far away. I mean, your immediate thought is something has happened in your immediate area, but then you start to realize how big this is, and I think pretty quickly we all figured out it was an earthquake.
Exactly.
For
we
most
just have
of
to
us
guess
in the southeast, we think, you've got to be kidding me.
Exactly.
Anyway, what are you getting on social
so,
media?
Earlier today, whenever we found out that it was a 4.4 magnitude earthquake, weather tool, which is Tim Strong, he was probably sleeping earlier today, probably woke up to that shaking, the ground shaking underneath him, and he tweeted out that he saw that it was a 4.4 magnitude. I retweeted him there on WRDW, which you can follow us there. That has already gotten over 300 retweets. That was within the last 30 minutes or so. And also, I think nationwide, Edgefield is trending because people are talking about that. People are talking about this earthquake right here because I feel like, you know, other places, it happens more often.
Oh,
would
sure.
Would you say that?
I would say that it's extremely rare here in the southeast.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Even though there's a fault line.
Yeah, exactly.
Now we're all settling down. We're taking a deep breath, and we've got through this. We may get an aftershock overnight. We might not.
And the next day or two ahead.
Right, that's true. It could be another week or so before it happens.
But I can tell you, I'm not going to lose any sleep. No. I haven't gotten sleep this week, so I'm
None
not
of
us
lose have.
I mean, maybe that little shaking, if we get an aftershock, would help rock me to sleep.
There are so many people tonight in Georgia and South Carolina with no power, no electricity. They're going to go home to a dark house. And unfortunately, we're not able to watch this tonight. So we heard from a lot of them on social media saying, tell us more, tell us everything you know.
Right.
Well, that's all we know, and as far as that goes. But thank you for picking up the ball at 10:23 and rolling with it, all nonstop here.
I mean, you know,
the one thing anybody wanted to hear about or talk about was the earthquake.
Yeah, to be sitting in my office getting prepared for the 11 and then all of a sudden feeling that, it takes a second to what's going on.
Right.
And I was in Huntsville, Alabama one time and had one of those occur, and I immediately thought, that's an earthquake. So, you know, I come running through the newsroom yelling and screaming, so you guys know I'm...
Yeah, no, we thought the tower was going to fall.
That does bother me.
The really tall tower outside.
Mm-hmm.
Other people were reporting plane crashes, and they thought an underground gas line was going to rupture. But it's funny, all of the things that we thought were going to happen, and yet we all experienced the very same thing.
The one thing we don't have is a staff member from California. So we were all wide-eyed and wondering, just like you were, about what the heck is going on. But it turns out to be, in fact, the look on Kevin Feigel's face coming out of the sports department was wide-eyed because he's an upstate New York kid. Most of us here in the Southeast have never felt a 4-point-whatever earthquake.
But we will update social media, of course, and continue to send us in your feedback and what you are experiencing or whatever, and we'll get that on those. We'll continue to do that.
Yeah, and one more reminder, again, I can't say this enough, I can't stress this enough, please leave the emergency lines open for people who actually have real emergencies or if you have any damage. Again, we cannot clog those lines with people just calling to report where they were and how they felt when they felt it.
Right. Okay. That's going to wrap it up for News 12 at 11 o'clock, this extended version. Glad to have you along. Thanks for watching. And Shane, thank you. And Meredith
and happy
for joining
Valentine's
us in.
Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. Hope you get your power back. And there's much more coverage of this to come all weekend long right here on News 12. Have a great night.